I've always wondered what it's like to live in Africa. I still don't want to go. Black Panther, the 18th movie in the MCU lineup. This movie was definitely a massive, massive deal for MCU. I think it was because everybody's eye was on it, and if they did not stick the landing, it wasn't going to be very pretty for them. I think the first thing that I really liked about this film is that it reinvigorated me about movies, I guess, because before I went to go see it, I was kind of meh about wanting to go see movies in theaters, and then I saw it in theaters and I'm like, gotta see every single movie in the theater. But I think what this movie does right, it does amazingly. It's up there with one of my top MCU movies. It's either in the top 10 or even maybe the top 5. I think all the characters are amazing and that all the actors do an incredible job with their role. I love Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw, because you can definitely tell he's having way too much fun with the role. I also think Chadwick Boseman does a really, really good King T'Chaka, because whenever we saw him in Civil War, he was probably one of the best things out of that movie, and I was really excited to see him in his solo movie, and he certainly did not disappoint. He definitely makes this movie, because I think with everybody that's in it, the movie works super, super well, but I think he's definitely the glue that holds everybody together. But I also think that's where a lot of people had problems with this film, is that a lot of people are saying that the Black Panther King T'Chaka was probably the weakest part of the movie. And I guess I can understand that, but he has probably the biggest arc in the movie, because he changes through the movie. He changes his ideology to fit with the villain, which is something very rare that you get in movies nowadays. Because that's kind of the whole point of the villain, is that a villain is supposed to just have the opposite of what the hero is, but neither of them are wrong. Speaking of villain, I can't talk about this movie without talking about Michael B. Jordan. He was incredible. I don't know why, but for some reason this recent circulation of MCU movies have just been really good about their villains, whenever in the past they were pretty bad about it. But Michael B. Jordan, I think, he brings a sort of humanity to the villain. Like, he's not just someone who's angry at the main character and wants to kill everybody in his way. He has his reasons for wanting to kill people, because he felt like his life was taken away from him, and kind of rightfully so, because as the audience member, you're kind of seeing that he's not wrong, really. I think he has some perfect lines in this movie, and without spoiling it, there's a line that he says near the end of the movie, and it really makes you think, and it's this kind of beautiful line that's set with this beautiful sunset, and it's just perfect almost. I also think this movie is shot beautifully. I think it felt like its own world. I really felt like I knew what Wakanda was and how its government worked. It was really gorgeous. The colors were really vibrant, and it was just one of those movies where it's like you look at it and you can know what movie it's exactly from. I also think the action in this movie is actually really, really good and exciting. But I think that also leads into what a lot of people's complaint about this movie was. A lot of people complained that this movie's CGI was not top-notch, and you can definitely see there are some scenes where the CGI does not work the best for the movie's favor. You can definitely tell that either the movie was rushed or it wasn't given a big enough budget. I would give my bet on the latter, because as proven by Infinity War, you can definitely tell that they weren't expecting Black Panther to be the hit that it was. I also think one of the best things about this movie is the soundtrack, because of a very obvious problem that I've had with a lot of the MCU movies is whenever I come out of them, I don't remember the music at all. It's all very samey, very similar. They use a lot of the same chords and instruments, and it's nothing original. I think the only time that you're ever going to come out of the theater singing one of their songs is probably with like the Avengers theme. That's the only one that a lot of people actually remember. But with this movie, I came out of it and I was like, oh, I need to listen to the soundtrack again because that was amazing. It's like the first time I came out of an MCU movie and I was like, yeah, the soundtrack was probably one of my best points about this movie, and it was incredible because it has this amazing blend of African music, and it's something that I really haven't heard before, and that's why I really loved it, because it actually really works with the action scenes in it, and I just thought it was amazing. In the end, I think Black Panther is definitely the movie that Marvel needed, and I think it's definitely a sign of how they have brought this universe. They've had their ups and downs, but it's all culminated to an amazing movie like this. They certainly learn from their lessons so many times. In the end, I would give Black Panther 4 out of 5 stars because it's up there with some of the greats of Marvel, I think. But that does it for this review, and remember, stay classy.